What was the biggest challenge when I was starting out as an entrepreneur? There were many challenges. It's not one big one. All of them seemed pretty big back then. I would say number one, I'll give you a couple. Number one, I would say I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I was very naive. I was getting into all these businesses and trying to kind of get rich quick, trying to make money quickly. How can I make some fast money? And I was always looking for external factors. That is this opportunity, is that business, or is that relationship that is going to make me successful, that is going to help me to build a successful business. And when I was looking for external factor to help me become successful, I was never successful. I believe to become successful, to build a good business, you always need to look within. You need to think of, you always have to be a part of that equation, that you have to take responsibility. And at the time, just like most people, I was pointing fingers, I was blaming everybody else for my failures. It's the economy, it's the customers, it's my competition, it's this, and it's always somebody else's fault except mine. Until I made that switch, once I figure out that business is actually about a few things, a few key things, such as selling a product, selling a service in exchange of money. It's what commerce is all about. It's you offer something to the marketplace in exchange of money. Maybe you are solving a problem, and I say many times, entrepreneurs, we are nothing more than a problem solver, right? As an entrepreneur, we solve people's problems at a profit. That's what we do as an entrepreneur. And once I recognized that, then things became more clear for me that, okay, in order to do that, I need to have more capabilities. I need to have more skill sets. I need to be better. I need to develop some fundamental business skills. Because most people, they get into business without actually knowing business. They don't know how business works. They have no business acumen. They have no help from any way. They have no idea what it takes. And they actually don't even know a whole lot about the industry that they're getting into most of the time. Of course, you've heard of the statistics that most businesses, some say 95%, some say 90% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years. Of course, when you don't know what you're doing, then chances of you failing is very high. So I would say that's the biggest challenge, not knowing what I was doing and also not having those skill sets. Now, once I have the skill sets, once I've developed some of those capabilities, it's like driving a car. When you don't know how to drive a car, it's driving dangerous. Of course, it's very dangerous, right? You don't know what you're doing. You don't know, are you pressing the gas? Are you pressing the brake? Of course, it's very dangerous because you are very dangerous. The car itself, the vehicle, the business is not dangerous, but as a driver, you're dangerous because you don't know what you're doing. But once you kind of know how to drive a car, you could drive this car, you can drive a SUV, you can drive a sport car. It doesn't really matter because now you know how to drive a car. So business, I believe, is the same thing. Once you know how a business works, once you know how to build a team, once you know how to do sales, how to do marketing, once you know how to put resources together, once you know how to raise capital, once you know how to maybe do social media, online marketing, it doesn't matter a whole lot what business you get into. The chances of you succeeding is way higher. And I always believe the number one skill that you need as an entrepreneur, it is the ability to close. It is the ability to communicate your idea, your people skill, your communication skill, because that's what you do all day. When you're talking to customers, you're closing, you are selling, right? When you're talking to a vendor, you're communicating your idea, you are closing. When you are talking to your employees, you are closing, you're selling them your vision. You're closing 24/7. So having that skill set, I believe, is very, very critical. And that's one of the things I train so many entrepreneurs around the world on, this particular skill set, on how do you close, how do you communicate your ideas, how do you take what's in here and communicate in such a way that people would understand, that you could simplify your message. It doesn't matter what business you want to get into. I believe that is the #1 skill.
Boom! Big boom. And not just one, actually 2 booms. It wouldn't have been possible, of course, without a huge community, without HTC, without Dan Lok.
Okay, I'm kind of crying here. I just got my first boom. I joined HTC 1 week ago. Not actually, it hasn't even been fully 1 week ago because it was Thursday night at like 7 o'clock. It's 2 in the afternoon right now. Last night's class was so good. The advice on taking notes and everything, Sifu, thank you so much. And so I had the call with him today, and I earned $25,000 for myself for my own consulting service, and immediately paid off all of my debt in one day, in one Zoom call. Thanks for listening, everybody. This is a big day. This is, wow.
If you want to know more about that, I have a 4-part training series that teach people, teach entrepreneurs like yourself, how do you develop this skill? The ability to communicate, the ability to influence, the ability to persuade. So click the link below and see and get access to my 4-part training.